On the plate today is the vegan diet again, and if you haven't seen my previous Vegan Explained video, I recommend that you check that one out first. This video, I'm going to be talking about the specific pros and cons of the vegan diet to help inform you if this is going to be the diet for you. So let's get right into it. Hey guys, Newton Kwong here, helping you with long-term tips and strategies on how to eat better and live healthier. Everything that I'm going to talk about today is educational in nature, so if you're looking for any medical advice, then please consult with your healthcare professional. There are many benefits to the vegan diet, and the first one that I want to bring up is that it's going to open you up to a whole lot of other food options and food choices. Out here in Western culture, we're so conditioned to have meat as the central part of our dishes. When we remove that, then we're forced to think more creatively on how we're going to prepare our meals. It gives you the opportunity to try a lot of different foods that you haven't considered trying out before, and that's great. I've actually tried out the vegan diet for a couple of months, and it really opened up my eyes to the number of options that I've had for plant-based proteins. I've never really considered eating beans in my diet, but then after I've experimented with veganism, I actually eat beans more often than I used to. Going on the vegan diet is definitely going to open up your eyes to many more options available to you. Pro number 2 of the vegan diet is that if you buy all of your own ingredients and you prepare all of your meals and food, then you're going to find that your grocery bills are going to be cheaper as opposed to if you were on a traditional diet with meat and animal products. Buying meat and buying animal products is typically going to be more expensive than buying vegetables, fruits, or buying whole grains and beans in bulk. There are a lot more costs to raising livestock than there are in planting crops. If you want to save a little bit of money, then consider going meatless for a little while. If you want to save money for the long term, then going vegan can be a good option for you too. Pro number 3 is obviously the health benefits that come from having more vegetables, fruits, and nutrient-dense plant foods in your diet. Plants are typically minimally processed, they're naturally lower in calories, they contain more fiber, so if you have a diet that's mainly comprised of that, then you can expect to have tremendous health benefits. If you're switching from a traditional Western diet over to a vegan diet, then it wouldn't be too surprising to see initial drops in your weight, as well as elevated health markers for your blood pressure, your cholesterol, and also your triglycerides. Not saying that that's a guarantee, but considering the swaps in your food choices, that may be a benefit that you'll experience. Eating more vegetables and fruits and whole food plant sources is always going to be a good option for improving your health. Pro number 4, and perhaps the biggest one of them all, is that it's environmentally conscious and it also takes into account sustainability. I think I may be going out on a limb here by saying that most vegans who decide to go onto this diet is because they are driven by their principles and their values. There's a lot of inhumane treatment and animal cruelty when it comes to the meat industry. Also, there are environmental costs to raising an enormous amount of livestock in the world, such as deforestation, increasing emissions, and overall contributing to climate change. One of the most immediate and impactful ways that we can take control over these issues is to consider eliminating meat and animal products from our diet. So for those who want to take an active stance in improving the environment, they may choose to go vegan. This is not to say that if you do not choose to be vegan, that you are against the environment. That is not true. I believe that there are many ways in which we can improve the environment without forcing a diet onto other people who don't want to do it. Veganism is just one of the more accessible and maybe convenient solutions that we have at our disposal right now, but I doubt that it's going to be the only one, and there's many other things that we can do in order to address the environmental crisis. Staying on the topic of sustainability, veganism is also scalable for our growing world population. There's a lot more natural resources that go into raising livestock than there is in planting crops. So as the demand for eating meat increases with an increasing population, there's going to be a squeeze on the natural resources that go out to everything else. Having more of the world's population go on a plant-based diet is going to address this massive strain on natural resources that an increasing meat demand would cause. That's enough for the pros for the vegan diet. Now let's get into the cons. Number one is that it eliminates a huge food group. You're not allowed to have any meat, you're not allowed to have any animal products, any dairy, and you can't have any foods that contain ingredients that come from animals. You may potentially have to give up many foods that you already love, and if you're doing that to a great extent, then the sustainability of this diet is going to be very short-lived. I can speak from personal experience that it was a hassle dealing with the limited dining options that I had available. It was also a hassle on other people as well because they had to account for my eating preferences. You really have to scrutinize all of the foods that you buy and all of the menu items of the restaurant that you're going to. All of this decision making and restriction can cause mental fatigue, anxiety, and worry when it comes to food. Con number two is that in eliminating all meats, all animal products, you're also exposing yourself to a greater possibility of experiencing nutritional deficiencies. Meat, fish, dairy, and other animal products provide a lot of different nutrients that are going to be impactful to our health. Some of these can't be found in great quantities in plant foods. Common deficiencies that vegans may have include calcium, vitamin B12, iron, and also omega-3 fat. It's important to monitor for any deficiencies that we may have and make sure that we get the proper supplementation. I've seen vegans on YouTube who've discussed that after years of being on the diet, they've started to accumulate certain health issues. But once they started incorporating animal products into their diet again, all of those issues went away. So it's important that if you feel a little bit under the weather after being on this diet for a while, that you check with your healthcare professional if you're getting all of your proper nutrients. Go in for a blood test and see if supplementation is going to help you out. The third con is that parts of the vegan community are somewhat radical and also a little bit toxic. There are some vegans out there who evangelize this diet as being kind of like the savior of this planet. If you're not with them, then you're against them and you're against the environment. And I think that's a very unhealthy stance to take. I believe that all diets are personal choice and one shouldn't be placed on top of another or forced down someone else's throat. Also, when I think about all the issues with the environment, it's so incredibly complex. It can't all be solved through one solution through veganism. That's just not the case. Would it help the earth if more of the population would switch to a more plant-based diet? Yeah, it probably will. But is it right to force everybody on the planet to switch to a plant-based diet? That's where it gets a little bit iffy. However, this is a con that I don't think is unique to the vegan community. It's also present in other communities as well. Every community is going to have a faction within it that's going to be a little bit more extreme. Those are all of the cons that I want to discuss, and here are my overall thoughts about the vegan diet. As I mentioned earlier, I gave the diet a try for a couple of months. I eventually got off of it because I thought that the limitations on the protein were just too much for me to handle. So what I did was I started incorporating eggs and dairy back into my day-to-day diet. That means that I wasn't full vegan, but I was mostly plant-based and I would consider myself vegetarian. I've been that way for almost 4 years now. For me personally, I did it because of the environmental and sustainability issues that I mentioned earlier in this video. Plus, it was also a very easy switch for me. It wasn't hard for me to give up meat or fish or any animal flesh, and even before I made the switch to vegetarian, I thought that it was a major hassle to prepare meat in the first place. Like, you gotta put it in the freezer, then you gotta take it out, let it defrost. You gotta, cut it up on surfaces, make sure your surfaces are clean, and you've gotta make sure that you use like chemical wipes and whatnot in order to sanitize your surfaces afterward. And it was just all a hassle for me. Also, I wasn't a really good cook. I would undercook my meat, overcook my meat. Every time that I tried to attempt cooking chicken or beef, it would just come out tasting bad. So for me to just completely leapfrog that issue was a godsend for me. I think that cooking vegetables is a lot easier. You can't really mess up vegetables that much. Also, I have a peace of mind that since I'm eating a lot of vegetables day to day, that I'm also maintaining my health at a good place. Overall, I would say that a mostly plant-based diet is a good fit for me, but but I can't say if it's going to be a good fit for you. If you're okay with the sacrifices that you have to make, then it might be a good fit for you. I was very comfortable with the sacrifices and it was no big deal for me. That's why I'm still doing it almost 4 years later. I do have to say though that I miss meat, and sometime in the future, I'm probably going to incorporate it back into my diet in moderation. If you watch this video and my Vegan Explained video and you feel that the sacrifices are too big for you to make, then that's perfectly fine. You do not have to be plant-based. You do not have to be vegan or vegetarian. It's perfectly okay. If your goal is just general health and weight loss, then there are more flexible options that you can take that allow you to get that same result. There are plenty of people out there in the world who have lost weight and who have gotten healthy while still eating meat and animal products. This is just one avenue of eating that you may want to consider to improve your health. You don't have to do it, you're not a bad person for doing it, and you're not against the environment if you choose not to do it. However, if you do choose to go plant-based, let me know down in the comments below. And if you have any questions on anything that I've discussed, post your questions in the comments below as well. If you found value out of this video, then please consider liking this video, subscribing to my channel for more tips and content just like this. And also, check out all of my other videos on the next screen, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.